When you see someone like Conor McGregor at a pre-match or pre-UFC press conference and he's giving it up large to his potential opponent, what's really happening there is an act of magic. An act of magic in the sense that he's undermining not so much the opponent's psyche, but it's almost like his daemon within him is acting like an aggressor towards a daemon inside the other opponent. So it's really the two daemons inside of one another who are having a go at each other. This is why it's not personal. This is why after fights have ended, these guys, no matter what the sport is, can actually go out and have a nice time together, no problems. The daemons were in conflict. It's almost like they were brandishing their warlike attributes. It's a way of saying, I will go to this extreme to defeat you. Now, why we do these things in life, whether it be the New Zealand All Blacks and the haka, or any kind of other elements of provocation in terms of I'm not afraid of you, it's really about an element of protection on the psychic and a magical sense. Anytime you take a risk, you are giving away something of yourself. You are giving away a risk in order to attain something. So for instance, you want to go to a foreign country, well, you're risking your livelihood, your safety, or your life by getting on an airplane. You're not flying the airplane, you're not in control of the airplane, but you're risking your life to get on the airplane so you can actually attain something. You want to go to a foreign country, you have to risk your life by going on an airplane. It's a basic exchange of information and a basic exchange of energy. You have to give up something to attain something else. This also happens in magic. When you embark upon a magical process or a shamanic process, what's happening is you are making yourself open, and that's part of the deal. Whether it's to entities, whether it's to danger, whether it's to pain, whether it's to suffering, in the shamanic sense, you're making yourself open. You're giving a piece of your safety and your security away in order to attain greater gifts. Now, when you give a piece of yourself away, just like when you get on a plane and you sacrifice your personal safety and security in order to travel, open yourself up to possible dangers. In terms of traveling on any kind of transport, an accident could happen. In terms of magic, you're opening yourself up because the magical process requires all the focus you can handle. Conscious mind that basically your psychic firewall has opened up and you are in danger. This is why the magicians go to extreme lengths in the magic circle and endless protections and all kinds of implements and devices to protect themselves from outside elementals, forces, entities from attacking them while they're in a magical state. Now, it's in the demonic sense. A good example of this was when Vlad the Impaler, when he got the Ottoman army, and he impaled them on stakes that were covered in pig fat, greased with pig fat, so they wouldn't get to see Allah, and lined them up on the road towards his castle in Wachovia, Transylvania. The Turk said, the Turkish daemon said, no way. What happened was the daemon of Vlad the Impaler was giving it up large and saying, I will go to any extreme. Push me, don't push me. And as a result, they stayed out of Europe. And that's why Vlad the Impaler is considered a great hero in Eastern Europe to these days. He basically turned Islam out of Europe by force of mind control, terror, and psychological manipulation, using his own daemon to play on the daemons of his potential enemies. Powerful thing, it works. In magic, likewise, you'll see in many shamanic traditions, particularly in Asia, often during the state of a magical process or a spiritual process in Buddhism and so on, there's masks worn with crazy faces, This is to show any entity approaching, like, my entity is harder and scarier and tougher than you. And believe it or not, that's also the reason why Catholic and Gothic churches are covered in these terrifying gargoyles. And Catholic art of the Middle Ages is filled with horrific scenes of hell. This was to show the entities that, like, we're not afraid of anything. This is our magic. And it's badass. Our badass is worse than your badass. And that's one, along with laughing at them and mocking them, that's another way you take them on, by showing, I'm not afraid of you. And this is what Crowley's whole life was about. Crowley's whole life was to be in defiance of every single entity and demon he could find, by just saying, I don't give a shit. I'm not afraid of any of you. And this is the path to a magical ascendancy, is by not having a fear. This is why he invoked Choronzon 333 in the desert with Victor Neuburg. He wanted to show the world of entities, the non-material world, that here's someone, a human, that fears nothing. And this is what shamanism is also about too, as well. Hence, one of the, part of the reason they inflict pain upon themselves is to put them into a psychedelic state. But that's also secondary. This is also, they're afraid of nothing. Because if you're going to go into the other worlds where the demons and the entities live, you've got to be aware, you've got to make them aware that you're not afraid of them on any level at all. And that's what that's all about. And it goes to quite dark things, like this image I'm showing you now. They're 4 dogs that were nailed to posts outside Siberian villages. When major shamanic rituals were taking place, they would stab live dogs through the heart and then impale them upon stakes outside the village in Siberia, in order to show the entities, while the shamanic states were happening, that you dare come into this village, or you dare cross our threshold. If we'll do that to a dog, imagine what we'll do to you. It's almost like gangs. It's like gang warfare in many ways. And it's difficult and disturbing to our eyes. And indeed, the Soviet communists banned this practice, as did, it's still banned under the Russian federalist government today and the Siberian regional government, but everyone knows this kind of thing still goes on. This is why human sacrifice was also imposed, as though we're willing to kill people to show that we're more dangerous than you are. If you go into the darkest, deepest magic and expect to meet leprechauns and Tinkerbells and fluffy angels in there, you won't. You will have to show a kind of a magical potency in terms of you're not afraid of anything. This is why the grimoire of Saint Cyprian has things like, killing a cat and planting seeds in its eyes and growing beans from those seeds. It's not because that's in the means to an end. It's to show that you have no fear. Whether it's a sadomasochistic thing, in terms of what the shamans do. This is why I find it ridiculous these people who go on these courses to Glastonbury or Sedona and come back and say they're shamans. They're not even Lego shamans. They're just so not there, in terms of what's needed. And this is why a lot of them become infected by entities. This is why a lot of people I know, and this is no joke, who've done these kind of shamanic workshops are suddenly declared themselves, when they're not even Native American, or being a Navajo shaman or something, become some of the most horrific people you'll ever meet. They become devious and vicious and nasty because they've been entered in by these entities. And lots of things, the Ouija board, lots of it, there's no protection. You see, when you do a Ouija board, there's no protection involved. You're totally submitting to the control of the actual board and how it functions. You're not inside a magic circle. You're actually out. If anything, the magic circle is where the actual circle of letters are. So you're easily taken over, and all these kinds of other things like that. Even Reiki, I'm very, very wary of Reiki and things like that. I won't let certain people who claim to be healers anywhere fucking near me. I mean, about 20 years ago, some Wiccan bitch that I knew, and she was a nasty piece of shit, claimed to be some kind of empathic healer, and she picked up my hand to help heal. I think at the time I had a migraine or something, and immediately I said, "Get the fuck away from me!" And she was actually, she never spoke to me again after that. She was shocked. Don't try to fucking heal me. I don't want your demons coming into me. And this is what a lot of these, I'm a healer. I'm an empath. Let me touch you. Do not let those motherfuckers touch you at all. Unless it's just as dangerous. It's like the analogy of getting into the airplane again. You're getting in with an untrained pilot. Where if it was a true shaman who'd been through all the works, took all the natural protections, yes, you're protect and you're safe from a possible entity infection. So this is the dark side of spirituality, and everybody doesn't want to deal with it. No one wants to deal with it because it's too real. It's too much like life. Life is not pleasant. Life can be dangerous. Life can be dark. Why do you think spirituality is going to be any different? And you have so many people saying, I'm getting messages from my guardian angel, and 99 times out of 100, that guardian angel is either their own daemon fooling themselves, or which is now taking control of them on some level through a kind of a narcissistic egotism, and also an entity. It's as simple as that. It's amazing to me that so many people go through their lives in the real world, in the workplace, in their family, in their relationships, very guarded, rightly so, and very protective of their personal space, their privacy, and who they are as people. But yet when they enter into the magical or the supernatural or the occult realms, they throw caution to the wind, or have this assumption that it's all unicorns and fluffy bunnies on the other side. And this is why so many New Age types are evil people. In fact, it'd be quite hard to find a New Age person who isn't fairly evil on some level, because entities have entered into them, because of this belief in angels and all this nonsense. And they've just done no protection. It's like, oh, I'm summoning this angel, my guardian angel. All this nonsense. Jesus Christ. For starters, an angel is such now. And when I use the word angel, I'm not talking about the terms of the biblical idea. These are almost like the super elevated forms of entities that exist up there. These would be like gods almost. For a mortal to summon an angel would be like, I don't know, a cockroach telling a bird to come down out of the sky. The arrogance of it, to fly down to me and pay attention to me, eagle. That's what it's like. So, I mean, if you are invoking an entity of that level, you summon demons, and that's why you treat them like shit as well. Also impose when you summon a demon, you're treating them like shit. Absolute excrement. You make their lives miserable. If they for a second think that you're easy prey, they'll jump into you and take control of you. This is why when you deal with angels, and this is why it's very difficult. There's a kind of a crossover. What's an angel? What's a demon? There are super demons that are capable of pretending that they're actually angels. You have to be careful. These ones who invoke angels, out of spite, the angel will send something down to damage them. How dare you, some idiot who's like who's a member of an angel healing workshop in Glastonbury, calling upon some high powerful entity as their servant, and you think it's not going to backfire on you? And this is the same thing. You wouldn't do that in real life. You wouldn't walk up to someone who was a very powerful member of society and start ordering them around and telling them what to do. You'll get the same thing in the spiritual world as well. And that's why spirituality has a dark side. Human beings have to, in particular case those Siberian shaman killing those dogs, they have to put the message out there that we're not afraid, and let's take if we're going to rumble, I'll take it any level, and that's usually enough to scare the malevolent entities away. And so that's why the darkness of spirituality is probably the safest kind of spirituality.